guys! I want to survive the end times, and so I'm determined to listen to God so I can learn how He wants me to live through whatever is going to happen in the world during my lifetime. For what it's worth, I would like to share an overall general feeling I have in relation to this subject of Bible prophecy. I don't think I'm alone in saying that a lot of the stuff that is said about Bible prophecy is either too complicated or not really convincing. For example, it may be true that a disaster in Asia or a new invention in California or the election results in Spain has some link to Bible prophecy, but for the most part, it really doesn't do much for me personally. I could be wrong, but I often get the idea that the person who is drawing these conclusions between Bible and the things we see on the news each night may be trying too hard to make the Bible say things that it isn't saying and that it doesn't really need to say. What does impress me, however, is when the link is clearly understood before it happens, and then it happens just as predicted. Seeing a connection afterwards, it's not really the same, especially when these so-called evidence takes a lot of twisting and shoving to make it sound like it's predicted. For example, a dramatic change in the stock market, or the date when a war ended. Do you know what I mean? Have you ever heard those kind of claims? But there are two prophecies, one in the Old Testament and one in the New Testament, which are very clear that make me believe that God would have inspired them. The one in the New Testament, it's a prediction in the 13th chapter of the Revelation that there will be a time in the world where they will be doing business through a mark in their forehead or in their hand. I mean, it was a pretty wild prediction when it was first written 2,000 years ago. Even 50 years ago, there was no reason to believe that it would have ever happened, apart from it being predicted in the Bible, of course. But today, it's suddenly coming together. Yes, right now in the world today, where you and I live. If you've done your research, banking technology is moving closer and closer to issuing people with microchip implants that they can use in their hand or their forehead, so they can use it for buying and selling. If you're interested about knowing more about this microchip, there are links in the description below so you can click on and read about this fulfillment of the amazing Bible prophecy. Every time I have doubts about God or Jesus or the Bible, this prophecy is simply a reminder that there is no other explanation except that God miraculously revealed to John the Revelator what was going to happen all over the world in our lifetime. Then, of course, there's another prophecy in the Old Testament, written about 400 years before Jesus was born, which predicted the year in which Jesus would be executed for the sins of the world. I mean, that's pretty amazing, don't you think? If you want more information about that, there's also a link in the description below. These two prophecies don't seem to be obscure or say things or appear to say things that are cryptic or complex. Instead, they say the sort of things that anyone would want to hear from a prophecy in order to believe it was a supernatural revelation from someone who knew the future hundreds of years ahead of time. These two prophecies strengthen my faith to the point where I don't need to be shaken when things come along that I don't understand, or when God asks me to do things that seem difficult. These prophecies tell me that there really is a God in heaven and that He really has a plan for this world. If I want to be a part of this plan, then I need to get serious about obeying Him more than I obey my employer, more than I obey my parents, more than I obey the laws of this land, more than I obey the leaders of my church. I need to listen to Jesus and obey Him if I'm going to find a place in this overall plan. I hope you will all be praying about that too. God is real and He has a plan for your life if you would just ask Him. Well, that's all I have to say for today, guys. Thanks for listening. If you want to hear more from us, please subscribe, like the video if you enjoyed it, please share it with your friends, comment down below if you have anything to say, and of course, thanks for listening. See you again soon.